And then we will share screen. So yesterday we looked at comparison problems. Who can remind me of the tool we used to help us with the comparison problems? What was it, Lila?
It was the alligator.
We used the greater gator. Anybody else remember the diagram we used? What was it called? Not a mouth mountain, but a
Comparison bar.
what was it? Comparison bar. So we'll continue to use comparison bars throughout this unit as a tool to help us. We do not need our math workbooks yet. First, we're going to use our math spiral to warm up our brains. But just so you know where we're headed, today we're going to look at comparison word problems like yesterday's. But today they're going to have misleading language. Does anyone know what misleading means? Haley? Misleading. Let's use our skills from EL. Let's break it up. What is the root word in the word misleading? Surname. No, that's a prefix. What do you think, Madison? Not leading. What's the root word? Lead. So the root or base word is lead. If I lead you, I take you, right? You follow me. I show you the way. So let's look at the affixes. If miss, what does miss mean? Not like I miss you, but how is it used as a prefix? Mislead. What do you think, Ellie?
Like you don't understand it.
Not quite miss. And one word means
Like you
one word.
missed a problem and you got it wrong.
No, it's a prefix. What do you think, Serne? Like if I misunderstood, did I understand?
No.
So what's the word? Not. I'm not leading. Leading means it's happening when, Gabe? Is it happening in the past, the present, or the future? If I'm misleading you. No, that would be I will mislead you. What do you think? Present, right? Misleading you. That means I'm not leading you in the right direction. Oh, that sounds horrible, doesn't it? So close your math workbook, please. Max, you don't need your math workbook. You need your math spiral. Misleading language is tricky because it doesn't lead you in a clear path. So we're going to have to solve problems in real life like that. So we're going to look at comparison problems with this and also some problems that do not include the words more or fewer. Why, Sawyer, would it be hard if a word problem did not have the word more or fewer? Why could that be tricky?
Because you wouldn't know if it's like a higher number or a smaller number.
Yeah, it makes it tough because we use those as clues, right? Like, oh, I got more, I'm going to add those together. Or it's less, I got to find the difference or subtract. So we will be doing that today. But before we do that, here's a skill that we need to work on. And this is a two-step word problem. This is our review today. And I'm giving it away by telling you it's a two-step word problem. Max had 345 pennies in his collection. His brother gave him 217 more pennies. He donated means to do what? Give it away. 185 of his pennies to a charity. How many pennies does Max have now? Go for it. Get your pencils. Jensen, do you have a question, honey?
No, I have an answer.
I don't want the answer. I just want you to solve it on paper. Hold up your paper for me. Let me see what you've done. Let's see those math spirals. Get going. Remember, this is a two-step word problem. I gave you that hint, right? So don't just do one step and think you're done. So the numbers you see up there should be on here. What numbers do you see? What did Max have? Write it down. You should have the numbers 345, 217. Those should be written down.
Is this the problem?
Be careful, not right side down. I didn't say do the same operation to all of them, did I? I said you gotta read it, you gotta visualize. It's two steps, but I'm not saying. Here, I'm gonna read, get you thinking. Some of you just took the numbers and did something with them. Listen, Max had 345 pennies in his collection. His brother gave him 217 more. This is your first step. You're going to have to do something with the answer to that problem when you read the second step. He donated 185 of his pennies to a charity. How many pennies does Max have now? These are two different steps. Okay, two different steps. Look at those keywords. Reflect. Does it make sense? You know what the word donate means? What does it mean? If I donate my clothes to Goodwill, do I still have them? No. You give them away. He gave them away. You couldn't end up with more if you gave some away. Check your answer. You're coming up with an answer that doesn't make sense. You can't have more if you gave some away. I'm not checking your work. Okay, share with your neighbor what you got. See if you agree or disagree. All right, Jensen, what answer did you get?
I got 317.
Okay, what did you get, Leo?
377.
Okay, so you guys have different answers. Okay, what did you get, Haley?
$377.
How about you, Gavin? What did you get?
422.
Okay, lots of different answers. Astria, what did you get?
377.
Okay. Okie dokie. I just met with the remote learners and they got a lot of different answers. I got some answers in the 300s. I got some answers in the 400s. Robert Westwood, tell me what your thinking is with this problem. What did you do and why?
I first added.
What did you add?
300 and 345 and 217.
Okay. And you said you added those. Why did you add those and not subtract?
So that I get back the total and then I could subtract.
Okay, before you go to the second part, how did you know you needed a total? What in the text helped you know that?
Because
Read it again. See what led you to that thinking. Max had 345 pennies in his collection. His brother gave him 217 more pennies. What words helped you know to add?
more pennies.
More, gave. Someone gave him more, so he's going to add. Okay, what do I get when I add 5 plus 7?
12.
Okay, what do I get when I add 1 plus 4 plus 1?
6.
What do I get when I add 3 plus 2?
5.
Am I finished, Robert?
No.
Okay, what's the second step? He donated 185 of his pennies to a charity. How many pennies does Max have now? What do I do next?
Then you subtract the 185.
Why would I subtract 185, Robert? How do you know to subtract?
Because it says he donated and that means share.
Okay, kids at home, donated, give. You give it away. Give away means you take it away. You're subtracting, right? Okay, so walk me through it, Robert. Can I do 2 minus 5?
No.
Okay, what do I need to do?
Need to minus, cross out the 6,
Yeah.
and then
If I take 1 away from 6, what will I be left with?
5.
And then what do I do with that 10 that I just took away?
Add it to the 1,
To the 2?
to the 2.
To the 1's place, maybe. Okay, so now what?
Now you
Can I subtract 5 from 12?
yes,
Because it's larger now, right? So we can do it. Okay, what's 12 minus 5?
7.
Can I do 5 minus 8?
No.
So what do I need to do?
1 minus. No. Cross out the 5.
Okay, what am I left with?
1. You're solving someone.
If I take 1 away from 5, Robert, what do I have left?
4.
4? Okay, what am I going to do with that? 10.
Subtract it.
Nope, I'm going to put it right here and add it to that 5. So now I have 15. Because I couldn't do 5 minus 8, but I can surely do 15 minus 8, right? Okay, now what?
That equals 7, so put another 7 at the bottom.
Okay,
And then 1 minus 4 equals 3.
well, that would be negative. We want to stick with 4 minus 1, right?
Yeah,
What would 4 minus 1 be?
3.
And what's our answer?
77.
And what's our unit?
Pennies.
Pennies. All right, give me glitter if you got that right. If you did not get that right, do you understand it now? Okay, I saw a lot of conversation over here, boys, but now are we good, Finn and Max? I know you guys were, I don't know if you were debating or, are you good now? Okay, all right, everybody back. We're gonna do a 3-act task. I know we did the railroad train last week, and I thought we'd try another one. This one's kind of more related to multiplication and division. Let's see, you guys ready to tell me what you're thinking and wondering? Okay, so this is called the fruit and nut act. It is a fun one. Fruit and nut act.
I like this one.
I do too. I couldn't remember if I'd done it, but I don't think so.
We didn't do it this year.
Yay. All right, you guys ready? First thing you're gonna do with your first act is, what do you notice? What do you wonder? What do you notice? What do you wonder? Write it in your math spiral.
Writer. A writer.
All right, I'm gonna play it again. I will do it. See, yep, sorry if I can. I don't know if it'll let me. What do you notice? What do you wonder? I think so. Here we go, full screen. And I can pause it there for a minute. Let's do that. All right, anybody willing to share their noticings or wonderings? Max Fox.
At first, the first thing I saw was the little chocolate candy bar. Candy milk or something. At first, I didn't know what it was, but when the second time it showed me, I thought. And then the candy bar, I thought it was a candy bar first, but then I saw a nut bar thing.
Okay, so he first wasn't sure what the little piece of chocolate was, and he thought it was a candy, like a chocolate bar. Is that what you were thinking? But now he knows it's a fruit and nut bar. Thank you, Max Fox. Marin, what did you notice, or what are you wondering?
I wonder why the guy placed a piece of chocolate on the table.
Like, why is he doing that? Because he's trying to get us to think about math. I wonder what he wants us to be thinking about. What about you, Gabe? Okay, so you think the little chocolate piece is part of the big bar. And you add them all together. Okay. That's what he's thinking. What are you thinking, Serene? You're wondering if it's chocolate? Okay, Serene's wondering if it's chocolate. Reese, what do you notice or what are you wondering?
I noticed there is chocolate on the table, and I wonder if the chocolate is part of the big bar.
She's wondering if the chocolate is part of the big bar. Henry. Henry, can you unmute? Share one thing you notice or wonder?
That I wonder what this has to do with math.
Ah, very good question. Okay, hands down. So here's my question to you. How many small squares of chocolate are in a whole fruit and nut bar? I want you to write an estimate that you know it could not be, that it's too high. And then I want you to write an estimate that you know is too low. How many small squares of chocolate are in a whole fruit and nut bar?
I want to see.
Everybody needs a high and a low.
Come on, guys. Everybody.
For example, a high estimate, I could say 100, right? There's no way it could be 100. And then my low, there's no way there's only 2.
Oh my God.
Right? So what's your high estimate? What's your low? What do you think it's going to be? You can raise your hand if you have a question.
So I see some people who are writing some ridiculous height. Is that what you were going
No,
for?
I mean, I can even, mine's kind of ridiculous.
But they
I mean, I could say like 65
So I'm
is probably
if
too
there's a high
high.
number, I mean, no, don't be, it's not a million or those kind of things.
No, don't do a ridiculous
Do it,
high
do it.
estimate. Something to give you a range.
I did 47. Yeah, it has to be like
All right, who is willing to share their estimate? How many do you think use your high and low to now help you figure out what do you think it actually is? What is your estimate? Use your high and your low to help you figure out what is it actually, how many do you really think are in that candy bar? Okay, Josh thinks how many? 12. Paxton, how many do you think are in there? 24. What about you, Sarnay? 33. Max, how many do you think? 33. Josh Lewis, what do you think? 12. Okay. What about you, Elena? 15. Gabe? 10. 16. Sid?
My high is 30, my low is 20.
So what do you think it actually is between that? You think 20? So your low might be lower than 20. What do you think? 12?
22.
22? 18? 17? 18? Okay, Jensen, what's your guess?
5.
5? Okay, Leah, what's your guess?
18.
18. All right, Gavin, what's your guess?
14.
14. Haley?
21.
21. Astria?
7.
7. Ben, what do you think? Ben Bowers? Ben, can you unmute and tell me how many pieces of chocolate you think are in the bar?
Maybe 6.
Katie? How about you, Katie? Katie Waldron, can you unmute and tell me how many you think are in the bar?
I think 18.
18. Okay, you guys are going to get a chance to revise your answer. Are you ready for Act 2? Here we go. You might want to change your thinking.
Oh, that's not that. It's one. That tiny other piece of chocolate isn't.
No, it didn't. Just watch. If you want to change your answer at all by now visualizing it out of the wrapper, go ahead and make a change. Did anyone change their answer? Jensen?
I changed it to 56.
Jensen, do you want to change your answer?
I want to change it to 56.
Okay, 56. Did anyone else want to change their answer? Abby?
Probably like 40.
40, okay. Anybody else before we move on? Lila? She's changing hers to 12. Marin? Keeping yours. All right. Here we go. Third act. Okay, now solve the problem. I'm gonna turn the lights out so you can see the lines better. Can I encourage you to write in a multiplication equation? Can you come up with a multiplication equation? Write it on your spiral. Write a multiplication equation in your spiral. All right. Henry, will you unmute and tell us what you got now? Henry Morgan, can you hit unmute and share your thinking?
Three plus three. 3 plus 3. 3 plus 3. 6 pluses for 3.
And what did you get?
18.
All right, so he gave us the repeated addition. Can anyone turn that into a multiplication equation? Ellie Combs. So 6 groups of 3 or 3 groups of 6? 6 times 3 is 18 or 3 times 6 is 18. So raise your hand if your estimate was higher than the actual. Raise your hand if your estimate was lower than the actual. Nice job. All right, guys. So that was another way to warm you up. Just a reminder, with our learning target today, we are going to be solving word problems that compare. I keep saying this, but I want you to remember it, Robert and Madison and Gabe, to know what operation you're going to be using when you're solving word problems. Remember that multiplication and addition have something in common. You already know the what? The total. But with multiplication, it's repeated addition, just like our candy bar. With addition, you know the total, but you don't know the total, but you're putting together different numbers. But in multiplication, they're the same numbers. In division, you do know the total. And subtraction, you know the total. You're taking it away. Just like we heard that word donate, right? We knew to subtract. Division, you're going to hear words like sharing equally, putting into equal groups. Come here, Bird. Can I help you? All right, so what do you need?
Can I use the restroom?
Don't, because you're going to miss this. If it's an emergency. If it's not, just have a seat. All right, let's move on to page. It looks like, yep, I was. There's only 2 pages today. That's going to make it nice. 275. 275. We're going to start with a puzzled penguin. We know puzzled penguin is always puzzled. Dear math students, we are on page 275 in your math workbook. If you are remote, make sure you have that math workbook. Hold it up. Show me you got it. Gavin, can I see your math workbook? 275. You have that at home, so you can do this with me, right, Gavin?
I can't find it. Right.
You need to go look for it, honey, because you're going to need that math workbook. Go look for it. All right. Ready to rock? Dear math students, as part of my math homework, I solved this problem. Finn, August, come sit here, bud. I solved this problem. Carlos has 19 fish. He has 14 fewer fish than Daniel. How many fish does Daniel have? Here's what I did. 19 minus 14 equals 5. Daniel has 5 fish. Is my answer right? If not, please correct my work and tell me what I did wrong. Go ahead, take a few minutes, solve this problem. Think about what you learned about comparison bars. Remember, the large bar usually goes on the bottom and has the person's number that has the most. Right now, I'm not sure he understood that. He looks a little puzzled. Go ahead and see if you can figure it out. Look at it, read it again. Carlos has 19 fish. Carlos has 19. Carlos has 14 fewer. That's fewer fish than Daniel. How many fish does Daniel have? He's saying Daniel has 5, but remember, Carlos has fewer fish than Daniel, and he has 19. Does that make sense? No. Fix the problem. Go ahead and write an answer to Puzzle Penguin. You can make a different comparison problem, comparison bars.
You have to write a note to him.
If not, please tell me what I did wrong.
I'm still writing. I got
Yes, do you have to solve it too? Yes, you do. Solve it as well. Okay, everybody, give me a thumbs up if you are about ready to share your thinking. All right, Astria, do you want to share what you're thinking?
I think it's 50.
Okay, tell me what you wrote. Is he right? The first thing was, is my answer right? What'd you say?
No, because you did 5 and not 50.
Okay, but what he subtracted. What should he have done, Astria?
Added.
Okay, so let's look at this again. Everybody should have said, is my answer right? Everyone should have said no. You subtracted. Yeah, let's say I like that one. Instead of what did we want him to do? Instead of adding. So now we need to add it, right? Because if Carlos has 19 and that's 14 fewer fish than Daniel, Daniel would be down here. Carlos would be here. 14 would be here. We know when we use a comparison bar, it's like a math mountain. The total's here, and here are my add-ins. It's the same thing. These are my add-ins. I have to add them to find how many Daniel has. So the only thing I'm worried about, Astria, is when you add 19 and 14, how you're getting 50. So let's walk through this, Astria. What's 9 plus 4?
13.
Okay, and you put the 1 here. Now, what's 1 plus 1 plus 1?
3.
So what should the answer be?
30.
33. So he should have gotten, Daniel has 33 fish, not 5. Right? Daniel has 33 fish. How did we do? Yes?
Yes.
No?
Yes.
Maybe you got half of it? You're halfway there? Okay. All right. So now we're going to look at some misleading language because those words more and fewer don't always work. They don't always work. So we've got to be able to visualize and understand what's happening. So we're going to start with number 2. Daniel has 23 fish. He has 15 more fish than Carlos. How many fish does Carlos have? So I'm going to ask you to draw a comparison bar with me. Okay, so we're going to do the comparison bars like this. Remember that the large rectangle on the bottom is going to be the biggest number. So if Daniel has 23 fish, and that is 15 more than Carlos, who has the most fish, Daniel or Carlos? Daniel. So put a D by the bottom and a C of the shorter rectangle. So how many does Daniel have? 23. Put a 23 in your big rectangle. Sorry, mine's falling out of my rectangle. We don't know how many fish Carlos has, but we know that it's, no, honey, we're on number 2. You guys, we're on number 2 now. They're the same names. I know that's so confusing, but we're doing different information. Go back to the text because see, it says Daniel has 23 fish. Do you guys see where I am? Do you see it? Yes, no, maybe? Are we good? Now you see it? Okay. Now you see it. We know that that's 15 more than Carlos. So, how are we going to figure out how many fish Carlos has? How are we going to do that? Paxton, find the answer. So with comparison bars, we're either adding or subtracting, right? They're not used for multiplication and division. They're not used for that, right? So you guys can get rid of the idea of multiplying or dividing with these problems with the comparison bar. So it's like the math mountain. We know the big number is 23, the total, the sum. And we have 15 on one side, and then we don't know what the other one is. How are we going to figure out what the other number is? What are we going to do, Max Fox? Well, let me repeat it for you. If we know the total is 23, one of the addends is 15, we are missing another addend. How do we find it? Or if we know the total is 23, and we have 15 here, we need to know what we would add to that to get 23. How can I figure that out?
So what you can do is first you can just add a 5 to 15 to make 20. And so just put it 15, you'll get 23.
Okay, so he's thinking 23 minus what equals 15? Or 15 plus what equals 23? Go ahead and solve that and see what you get. When you have the answer, put your hand on top of your head. And put your pencil in your hand and get it right. We're not doing division. Get that out of your head, my dear. So, we know the total is 23, so the answer can't be 38. It can't be 38 plus 15 equals 23. It has to be smaller. We only have 23. Remember, Carlos has 15 fewer. The answer you get has to be less than 23. Has to be less than 23, right? Yes, no, maybe? I see you. I see you. Okay, Bird, what are you thinking? She says it's 8. How do you know it's 8?
Because I subtracted 23 divided by 9.
Minus, we're not doing division, right? That's a subtraction sign. All right, she's right. You would say 23 minus 15 equals 8. So let's reflect and see if this makes sense. Daniel has 23 fish. He has 15 more fish than Carlos. Carlos has to have less because Daniel has 15 more than he does. How many fish does Carlos have? He has 8. Is that less than 23? Is that 15 less than 23? Yes. Good job. All right. Let's look at number 2. Gina ran 12 laps. She means Gina, ran 8 fewer laps than Bettina. How many laps did Bettina run? Okay, first we got to figure out who ran more, Bettina or Gina? Josh, what do you think?
I think Gina ran more.
Why do you think Bettina ran more laps?
I think Bettina ran more laps because she ran 12 laps.
Okay, but it says Gina ran 12 laps, but Gina ran 8. Those 12 laps are fewer than Bettina.
Bettina ran like 20.
Bettina ran the most, right? Okay, so let's make our bar. We know Bettina has the most. So Gina is going to be here, but we don't know how many. We don't know how many she ran, but she has the most.
What I did is I added up 12 and 8 and got 20.
Okay, Gina ran how many, Mr.
Ran 12.
Carter? 12, which is 8 fewer than Bettina. How are we gonna figure out how many Bettina ran? Microphone answer. Adam, 12 plus 8. Figure it out. Figure it out, Elena. Write it down. Get going. You don't know how to. Yes, he is. No, it's hiding it. Oh, okay. No, last time. All right. Benjamin Bowers, can you unmute? What does 12 plus 8 equal?
Wait, did you say 12? Did you say 12 plus 8?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 20.
20, if you agree with Ben, stand up and jump one time. Jump one time if you agree. If you did not jump, I'm wondering why. 12 plus 8 is 20. Okay, you can sit down. Now you are going to do numbers 4 and 5 with a partner. Numbers 4 and 5 with a partner. My advice is before you start, wait, freeze. Before you solve it, figure out who has the most. Look back at the text. Put that number in the big bar or the question mark in the big bar. Okay, I'll put you in breakout rooms if you're remote, and you guys are gonna do the next 2 problems. You may join your breakout room.
It never says, so that means say, show your work.
Okay, I'm wondering where the kids you ever were. Okay, all right.
I like your earrings.
Oh, thank you. You're my pine cones today.
Do you mind if I drum the lyrics? Why are people scaring me today?
Label your units and show me your work. I don't see anything. I don't see equations. I don't see answers. I don't see units. Write them down, guys, so I know that you did your job. Okay, everybody. All right, thank you. Let's get back to whole body listening. I'm just gonna show you, sorry. Love when it does that on me. Number 4, check your work. I think most of us got it, but let's double check.
I did see a couple different answers.
Okay, Bettina ran 20 laps. She is talking, girls and boys, whole body listening, you too. Bettina ran 20 laps. She means Bettina, okay? So if she ran 8 more laps than Gina, we know that Bettina is the big number in our comparison bar. So if that's 20, and that is 8 more than Gina, I'm still wanting to know what Gina ran. Some of you drew Math Mountains and you had 20 and 8 and you were trying to find the missing add-in. To find the missing add-in, you don't add. You do the inverse. What should we have done, Gabe? What? Subtracted 20 minus 8, which equals what, Gabe? 12. You should have gotten 12 for number 4. Number 5. I can't see it on mine, but you guys have it in front of you. Sarah read 18 books this month. She read 13 fewer than Lupe. I'm not sure I'm saying that right. Luke? Who knows? So how many books did Luke read this month? If Sarah read 18 books and she read 13 fewer than Luke, that means that Sarah smaller and Luke A is the bigger number. So we're looking at Sarah has 18, which is 13 fewer than Luke. To find out Luke's, which is the bigger amount, even though the word said fewer, it doesn't mean I'm going to subtract. So you got to be careful with keywords, don't we? You still got to understand it and draw pictures and visualize. So Charlie, what would I do to get the answer? 18 plus 13. And what did you get?
33.
Well, 8 plus 3. 8 in my head, 9, 10, 11. You should have gotten 31. If you subtracted, but you reflected, and you got 5 for Luke, I feel bad not knowing it. You would know you did something wrong because you know that Sarah read fewer than him and she read 18. So there's no way he could have read 5. So if you use these strategies that I've been talking about from the beginning of the year and you reflected, you would fix your work because you would say, I did it wrong. Okay. Let me just see how I did this. I know. I'm going to double check the next page. We're not going to have time to do it all, but I want to see if I missed anything. All right, so these are, let's do number 6. I do, and then maybe you do. We might skip the we do. I'm going to show you another comparison word problem without the words more or fewer. Let's see if we can do it. Let's challenge ourselves. Are you guys ready? The coach brought 18 hockey sticks to practice. Evie, hold Addie. There were 23 players at practice. How many players didn't get sticks? Show me on your fingers what operation I would use to answer that. If the coach brought 18 hockey sticks, can't you see coach coming in? All right, team, I got 18 hockey sticks. Set them down. But there's 23 players. There's 23 of you and there's 18 sticks. How many players didn't get sticks? Someone's going to be mad. Show me what operation I would use to figure that out. So I see some of you said add. Watch what happens if I add. If I say 18 plus 23, I get 41, sorry. I made a third grade mistake. 8, 9, 10, 11, right? 1, 2. I get 41. Let's reflect. The coach brought 18 hockey sticks to practice. There were 23 players at practice. 41 players didn't get sticks? What? Could that work?
No.
There's only 23 players. How can 41 not get sticks? So if you said addition, show me what we should do instead of addition. Everybody said we should subtract. Go ahead and do it. 23 minus 18. Do it. You can count up. You don't even have to use the algorithm. Solve the problem. 23 minus 18. 23 minus 18. Okay, good job. You are it. Can you show me? No, you can. Come on. Oh, he's gonna have it. Try again. 13 minus 8 is 6. Check it out. 8 in your head. Look. 8, 9, 10, 11, 13. All right. Well, let's see. Evie, what's 23 minus 18?
So you can't do 8
5 players. All right, we're gonna do one more here, Mrs. Harrison, bear with me. So let's see, can they fool us without using the words more or fewer? No way. We can visualize it, we can act it out, we can draw. We got this. All right, at a meeting, 15 people had to stand because there were not enough chairs. There were 12 chairs. How many people came to the meeting? Whoa, that's tricky. 15 people had to stand because there's not enough chairs. There were 12 chairs. How many people came to the meeting? Okay, I see 12 chairs. Are you guys picturing it? You walk into a room, there's 12 chairs with people in them. There's also around the border of the room 15 people standing. How many people came to the meeting? Show me what operation we're going to use. Show me what you're thinking. Paxton, I'm not sure what you're thinking. Henrik, what are you thinking? Multiplication? All right, we're going to try multiplication. 15 times 12. I haven't taught you this. All right, I got 180. Could there be 180 people at the meeting? If there's 15 people standing and 12 in chairs, does that work? No way, Jose. I just reflected and I know I'm not going to multiply. So, and plus, Mrs. Alvin better not ask you to do something she hasn't taught you. 15 times 12, right? I wouldn't ask you to do that. Show me on your fingers now what you think you would do. Sunny Poe, what should we be doing? Addition. 15 people are standing and there's 12 people sitting in chairs that are full. How many people are at the meeting, Sunny? 27. All right, guys, that is how we do not get fooled. We don't get fooled. Whether the words fewer or more are there or not, we don't need them because what do we do instead? What do we do, Cooper, instead? If we don't have the words more and fewer, what do we do? You think, you visualize, you reflect, draw a picture. We don't need those words. We can solve it without it. All right, kiddos, show me how you're feeling about today. Misleading language. That means, Haley, Cooper, sit down. That they misled us. They used the words more and fewer. They used more when we had to subtract 10 in August. I asked you to come over there. What's over there? They used the word fewer when we had to add. Then they took out the words more and fewer. And we didn't have anything, which was almost better, don't you think? Than trying to use the opposite every time. All right, show me again at home. Astria feels good. Katie, how are you feeling? Reese feels good. Jensen, you okay? Gavin? All right, if you would please, then you can work on 5.5 if you have at home and when Mrs. Harrison asks you to. Adios, mathematicians. Nice job today.
Bye, Miss Robin.
Manana.